Alright guys, Sony just keeps taking one L after another. Things are not looking up for them, and honestly, they have done this to themselves. And that is not coming from a place of hate. This is not a console war situation for me personally. This is simply looking at it from the outside in, saying, my god, what is with these decisions you guys are making? What is causing so much controversy and strife behind the scenes at Sony? So, in case you didn't know, Astro Bot, a Sony exclusive, a PlayStation exclusive, just came out a couple days ago. It looks fantastic. Looks like it's a love letter to all the Sony platform games. People are enjoying it immensely. Looks like a lot of fun, kind of like a Nintendo nostalgia type game. Unfortunately, even this game is causing some negative press for Sony. Apparently, there is a character in it, because you can have cameos and different skins, obviously, from different characters from PlayStation games, from Days Gone, a game that was highly controversial in the fact that it never received a sequel despite there being a massive outcry for it. So of course, John Garvin, the creative director of the 2019 exclusive Days Gone, was commenting on the inclusion of his character Deke in the game, and he said, "It's kind of sad that Deke has been reduced to promoting other games. Well done, Bend Studio, way to protect your legacy." You can see the character right here in this Twitter post. So he's not happy about it. He's like, okay, basically, this is all I get for my time is instead of a sequel to my game, I get a little cameo in a robot game. You know, thanks Sony, thanks for nothing essentially. So of course, we've also seen this more, I'd say, volatile situation where the former Sony president had said thousands of laid off developers can just go to the beach for a year and you can't blame greedy executives. Quote, "Things jump out in front of you and you deal with them just like in any game, so get over it." Now, that's pretty spicy. That's a pretty hot take. And I've been pretty consistent, in my opinion, with a lot of these developers, a lot of these people involved in game development, that a lot of these people who do, like, for example, the character designs and the actual narrative work for these games, I don't feel sorry for them if they get laid off. I will say that the developers who work on things like environment and those kind of situations, like the environmental artists and stuff, it's not their fault if a game has wokeness crammed into it or ugly characters like we see in Concord or Dustborn or whatever. It's unfortunate that they're attached to that team, but if they get laid off, it's an unfortunate casualty in this situation. But for this guy, who's probably a multi-millionaire, I'd imagine, to basically tell his employees, hey, if we're out of work and you need to go drive an Uber for a year and live on the beach, just deal with it. It's like, nobody wants to hear this from somebody who's been making 6-7 figures his entire life and is probably sitting pretty, never having to worry about it, working a day in his life ever again. So another bad look for Sony right there. Then, of course, we had the release of the Sony PlayStation 5 Pro announcement today. And my God, I don't know who this is for. $700 for the new PlayStation Pro. Not a PlayStation 6, mind you. This is like PS5 Pro. So slightly improved graphics and ray tracing and all that with no disk drive. The vertical stand is like $80, I think, extra. Or maybe that's the disk drive that's like $80. I don't know, but absolutely insane. Tone deaf move by Sony. Apparently it comes out in November too, which is kind of surprising. That's like a really short turnaround. But yeah, so it's a little bit faster, a little bit better graphics, whatever. Long and the short of it is $700 for a slightly upgraded PlayStation. So once again, Sony looking completely tone deaf to the situation that everybody's in this economy with the way that the world has gone the last couple of years. Now, of course, we have to go back to Concord, because Concord is by far the biggest blemish on Sony's reputation in a long time. Remember, Sony bought Firewalk Studios a few years ago with the intention of making this their debut game, Concord, this, platform shooter, the most, revolutionary, fascinating, fun to play 5v5 hero shooter that's, out there, trying to rival games like Rainbow Six and Overwatch and Apex Legends, and they failed miserably because of the fact that they hired a bunch of woke idiots who decided to make the ugliest characters known to man and worry more about cutscenes and character backstories and making transgender people's stories and all that woven into the game, rather than just making a fantastic looking and fun to play game. Now what we're seeing is apparently the studio that Firewalk was developed by has been shaken to the core by the game's failure, and yet they're still ignoring any discussion of DEI wokeness leading to its downfall. I shit you not, these people are completely tone deaf to reality. They're not paying attention. They've got their heads buried in the sand. So the former owner of Concord of Firewalk Studios was a company called Probably Monsters. and they were the ones who actually incubated Firewalk Studios. So of course, Probably Monsters, whose CEO and founder is Harold Ryan, the former president and chairman of the board at Bungie apparently, sold Firewalk Studios and Concord to Sony back in April of 2023. Man, lucky for that guy that he got away from that game. Unfortunately, I'm sure he has to share some of the blame for it, given the fact that this game was developed for 8 freaking years. But of course, we saw the press release from Sony talking about the purchase of Firewalk Studios, and of course, Firewalk Studios making the announcement that they had to basically shelve the game indefinitely. And again, there are people saying that Concord is going to come back free to play. I don't know if they can even make that happen. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But the reality is Firewalk was infused with all of this DEI messaging, all these woke activists. We've seen reports on them from Smash JT, from That Park Place, from Bounding Into Comics, talking about these people, absolute lunatics who refer to themselves as professors and who have to inject their own politics into everything they do. But apparently this starts all the way back at Probably Monsters, the company that used to own Firewalk. From this report here from That Park Place, it says, a source close to Probably Monsters informs That Park Place that Probably Monsters has been shaken to its core due to not only the game's failure, but the extent that it failed. While the company and its employees have been shaken by the failure, one thing that is not shaking them and that they are not even acknowledging is the game's embrace of woke ideology and diversity, equity, and inclusivity, or as we all know, DEI, DIE, however you want to spell it. Interestingly, this source also informed That Park Place that the company did indeed have discussions beforehand about how heavy it would embrace woke ideology. As shown in the game's final product, it does not appear that dissenting voices were able to bring any reason to those wanting to insert the woke ideology, and now it appears executives want to bury their heads in the sand. If what this source relays is true, other projects coming out of Probably Monsters incubation, as well as their Battle Barge and Hidden Grove studios, are most definitely at risk of being infected by the woke ideology and leading to similar disasters such as Concord. You know, guys, this is something that we're going to see in every game moving forward, except if they're like specific studios, a lot of like Korean developers or indie developers. This is why I was saying on my live stream last night, I want to start doing indie game live streams maybe once a week to focus on indie studios who are actually putting out good games that are fun, that aren't getting as much love or attention because they don't have the funding and the attention of the actual media outlets that exist. But again, I'm not shocked to hear this, because when you start looking into who these people were, and again, these people who are developers and artists who had a massive effect on Concord, they've been there for years. So Probably Monsters was aware of it. They knew the kind of people that they hired. They knew the people that were working on this game. They knew exactly what they were all about, and we are seeing the results in real time. So I'm going to wrap it up. Let me know what you guys think about all this. Are you shocked by any of this? Are you going to be playing anything that comes out of Play Monsters? Or, Probably Monsters. God, I'm a little sick, guys. You just got to bear with me tonight. All right, guys, I will catch you on the next one. All right, and if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you for being here. I do have 2 channels, Minimal Effort Podcast, as well as my gaming channel. I do have a Twitch and Kick for my gaming channel. We do live streams over there occasionally, maybe once a week. And then if you are in the market for a new PC, make sure to check out Meta PCs. Click the link I have down below. Use code TBO at checkout for a special discount. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.